All right, Harold, let's make this thing. I'm going to try not to play the song. One, I have the instrumental. I'm going to give it to you to follow, but I don't want it, whatever. First thing, once you get the instrumental into your session, zoom in as much as you can. I'm in slip mode right now. Place your cursor, hit your tab key, hit Command E to cut it, highlight this little piece, and delete it, and then move this over. That's just easier so that you can line up your music with the parts that we're going to make. All right, so I'm going to zoom back out. The tempo is 166. So when you come over here, click on 120, type in 166, and hit enter or return. All right, let's take a look at the drums. So first of all, using battery, I went ahead and used the 2 Funk kit. It's the very first kit. The kick is okay. The snare. Now, I went and found a couple of sounds that you're going to need to do. So follow this. Click on samples and type in rattle. R-A-T-T-L-E, and hit return. Okay, and I found down at the bottom here, if I scroll all the way down, rattle Skittles. I dragged that onto this pad right here. And you see how you can see the waveform here? It's pretty long. So if you grab this little E, the end, and drag it so that you only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little waveforms, it shortens it. And I think that sounds better. The next one that we need is the 808 cowbell. So if you type in 808, we'll come down here to cowbell, drag that in. Okay, so we're going to use the kick, which is on C1, the snare, which is on D1, the rattle, which is on D sharp 1, and the cowbell, which is on E1. Okay, now I'll show you the patterns. The first drum pattern looks like this. Okay, so a couple reminders. My grid is set to 16th notes. So the hi-hats are on every other one. Okay, we're just looking at the first measure. Okay, so hi-hats every other one. The kick. Okay, just take a look at them, match them. The snare is on beat 3 and beat 3. This is 2 measures, I'm sorry. So this is the first 2 measures. On top of the first hi-hat, you get that rattle, and then on the and of beat 4 of the second measure, you put in that cowbell. Okay, sounds like this. All right, so I'm calling that drum pattern 1. The second drum pattern, the next 2 measures, is pretty much the same, but it's got, what else? What has it got? It's just got a couple extra snare drums. Okay, so take a look and look, it's on 1. The kick drum is on 1. The snare drum is on D, the rattle, and the cowbell. All right, so it's really just those extra snare drums that are different. Okay, so the 2 of them together, and it should fill up 4 measures perfectly, sound like this. Okay, now there's this little sound that I thought you might want to have. It's kind of a squeak. And I just stole it from the song. So let's see if I can get that. So if you come into the song right here, and this is another example of editing in slip mode, place your cursor, use your tab key, Command E, tab again, Command E. Okay? Then you can just drag this down and have it. All right, I'm going to still try not to play the instrumental. All right, so the drums with the little squeak. All right, there's a third drum part because here no more music plays because she does that little a cappella thing, and then it goes. Okay, so that is this 2 measures. Hi-hats stay the same, and then this kick part, boom, but boom, but boom, but boom, but. Okay? So take a look at that. Now, one thing with all of these drums, I highlighted all of my notes. Okay, so pretty much all of these, and I brought up the velocities to be as loud as possible. And then we're also going to end up, separating the drums later. But for now, just make your velocities as loud as possible. Okay, so 3 significant major or important drum parts. Next, let's look at the piano. Pretty basic. All right, so taking a look, these again, 16th notes. I chose, so this is E, and I put E, the octave, so it sounds more full. Listen to it without and with. So layer those octaves. So E, G, F sharp, and then that's it. All right, so this is on beat 1, and I did 3 16th notes. This is on beat 2 of measure 2, 3 16th notes, and the and of beat 3, 3 16th notes. Let's listen to that with the drums for 4 measures. Okay. Now, I showed you the next drum part. So the piano basically just plays E on beats 1, beat 3, beat 1, beat 3 for those 2 measures. Okay, pause it and take a look. All right, now when this happens, the piano goes away for a little bit. And, oh, by the way, what am I using for the piano? I'm using Expand, and I'm using the acoustic natural grand piano. Okay? Just about anything would work, a grand piano, but for bass, I'm using Massive stereo track, and it's called the Boss Sub. So the way to find that, click on Browser, click on Bass, click on Sub, Boss Sub, double click. That'll load it up. Okay? So these are the same notes as the piano. E, G, F sharp, or G flat. But these are longer notes. Okay? It's kind of a cool bass tone, to be honest. So if you think about the timing of it, so the first note, the E, plays for a measure. Then the second note, G, plays for 2 beats. I added 1/16 note because the way that this note goes into this one, it kind of glides in. You could probably just leave it as 2 beats, but if you can follow that. And then the G flat lands on beat 3 of measure 10, basically. All right, so all of that together, kind of coming in from this transition. All right, so how did I do this? Basically, well, I'm not going to talk about so much. Yeah, okay, let's do that a little bit. Okay, so there's 2 drum parts when the drums are playing. So I'm calling this pattern 1 and pattern 2. This is pattern 3, the transition. So this one is pattern 1, pattern 2. So you can take both of these, copy them, paste them, however you want to move them. And then this is pattern 1 again. Okay, and then there's nothing. This bass note, so if you see how you just copy the bass clip, and then what you're going to do is just shorten it so that only that first note plays. And then everything comes back again. So this is pattern 1, pattern 2. This one is a little bit different. It's just the hi-hats and the snare drum. Okay, so that's that with just the piano, and then this one's that transition one again. And I noticed in the original that it doesn't copy that in the piano. Okay? Then there's one more bass change. So the notes don't change, but it starts to play, it basically starts to play the kick drum pattern. So we have E for 1 beat, skip to 16th notes, E for another quarter note, and then 2 short 16th notes of E. Then 1 beat on beat 2 of G, and then on the and of beat 3, F sharp. Sounds like this. Okay, and then that copies for a while. All right, so if you want to kind of look at this arrangement, measure 29. Piano's back. All right, that's all I've done so far. But this is pretty accurate in terms of the arrangement. You'll have the instrumental in here, so as much as you can listen to it and kind of try and match the parts. Again, like here, for example, it's just taking the original drum beat and shortening it for as long as it plays in here, because there is this break again where she says some stuff, but I can't say that stuff out loud. All right, same with all this. It's just shortening it, and the bass as well. All right. Have fun with it. Hopefully that's clear. Ask me a question.